Did you know that when a therapist gets behind in their notes, it's actually one of the very first signs that something is going on in that therapist's life, whether it's personally or professionally, but something is going on that's impacting their work? Hi, I'm Dr. Maelisa McCaffrey, founder of the free private practice paperwork crash course, and today we are beginning our series on mental health and how it impacts paperwork. In this series, we will be talking about stress, grief, and burnout, depression, anxiety, and ADHD. These are the most common things that I have seen with therapists that I work with. And today we're tackling stress, grief, and burnout. So get ready. Okay, first of all, when we talk about stress or grief, this may not be the major negative life scenario that you're thinking of. Yes, I've worked with lots of therapists where all of a sudden they're struggling with their paperwork and it was never an issue before, and then we find out something like their mother just passed away, or they just got a divorce, or became a widow, so something fairly significant. However, other things can cause stress too. Having a baby. That's a huge life change, and it's a good change, but it requires you to adjust your life in a big way. It could also be having a new schedule. So maybe you just got married. Another positive, hopefully, life change, and yet it can create some struggles for therapists when they have to rethink their schedule or rethink different priorities. Now, for therapists who reach out to me and they're dealing with stressful scenarios, big life changes, such as grief or burnout, this is often the first time they have had a struggle with paperwork or needed to reach out for help. So this whole thing of not being on top of stuff might be new to you. So maybe you've been a therapist for 15 years and you've never been behind in your paperwork, and all of a sudden now you can't seem to get your notes done on time. Or at the very least, you've never gotten this far behind. And if you are someone who's always struggled with paperwork, then likely you're more behind now than you've ever been before. So what are some steps you can take to help manage these scenarios? I'm going to give you 3 strategies that you can pretty much use right away to help you with this. Okay, the first is to give yourself some grace and understand that you will likely need more time to process a lot of things. So for example, if you are dealing with grief or a big life change, then you probably need to anticipate that you'll have bad days. You'll have days where you just can't be quite as productive. You'll have days where you need to leave early or you need to sleep in a little bit, and that's okay. This is something any of us would tell any client to anticipate, right? So it's something you need to plan ahead for yourself. So give yourself the time you need to process what's going on in your personal life, and don't let that seep into your work as much. Don't schedule extra things, don't take on extra tasks. Now, related to that is number 2, which is that you might need to reduce your client load. Now, this can apply in a couple different scenarios. So for one, if we use the grief example, it may just be that you need to reduce your client load because you need less on your plate as you manage this. However, another scenario is that you may simply have too many clients. So if you can't get your notes done and you feel stressed out all the time, but you're seeing 40 clients in a week, guess what? That's unrealistic to get all the other things done that you need to get done as a therapist, along with your notes, along with managing a caseload of 40 people. I just haven't met a therapist that can realistically do it well. Now, I just said 40, which is extreme, but your number is very personal. So for you, 15 may be the most amount of clients that you can manage well. So take an honest look at your caseload, at the clients you see, and at who and what stresses you out and what is impacting your day. Okay, this third and final tip is something that everybody can do right now. Literally right after you watch this video, the next client you see, you can implement this, okay? And that is end your sessions on time. You need breaks in between clients, whether that's just to process on your own, to manage your own emotions around the session, to catch up on other things, to check in with a family member, or to go to the bathroom or eat a snack. Self-care is a huge part of being a good therapist. And ending your sessions on time is a huge part of self-care. Now, I get it. If you are not used to ending your sessions on time, your clients are going to be like, what the heck's happening? So what you can do is manage expectations. And at the beginning of your next session, say, hey, I know that we often tend to go over. And you can use that phrasing because you are going over already. So hey, I know we often tend to go over in our sessions, but I really need to start ending our sessions at the scheduled time. So we'll be doing that today. This will give you a little bit of accountability because you've brought it up with your client and you'll feel like, okay, maybe I need to actually, hold this boundary. But it'll also manage their expectations too, so they're not completely shocked by it. All right, so those are your 3 quick tips that you can use to deal with stress, grief, or burnout, and how that may be impacting your notes. Now, we all know another great way to manage burnout, stress, and grief is community, a supportive community. And we have that through QA Prep. So I want to let you know, specifically if you are behind in your notes, which is a very shame-provoking and scary thing to deal with as a therapist, you are not alone, and we have a group for you. So click below to check out the paperwork catch-up group. This is literally an accountability and support group focused solely on catching up on your notes. So you will be in a big group with a lot of other therapists who have the exact same issue as you. I promise you, you will be surprised to see that other people are just as behind as you are and find this to be just as much of a struggle. You will find your people here. We are here to support you, not to shame you or judge you. So if you're behind in your paperwork, know you are not alone at all, and there are resources to support you. Click below and find out more.